What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be running through my 2023 AFL predictions. I know we're back doing videos finally. I really have to get this video out. I'm pretty sure I'm like the last AFL YouTuber to do this video, and it's like the Tuesday week of when the AFL season begins as well. So I'm very late, but yeah, we got to get this video done. So let's get straight into it right now. Starting off with my 2023 AFL ladder. I feel like for my ladder this season, I've went a little bit like more simplistic. I haven't done too many crazy things on my ladder. I haven't done too many daring things, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So yeah, let's kick it off. Kicking off in 18th spot. Now I already told my brother that I'm gonna do this, but it's not North Melbourne. I said to him that I think Hawthorn are going to finish 18th this season. I reckon they're just, they're a pretty decent side, but I feel like me, along with a lot of other YouTubers, think that Hawthorn are going to have, a drop-off this season. And I reckon they're going to have a big drop-off and actually finish in last spot. They've got a half-decent side, but, I don't know. I feel like they've gotten rid of too much experience in their side, and I feel like that's gonna, lose them a few games this season. So yeah, I reckon the Hawks are going to drop down to 18th spot, have a bit of an average season, like they sort of did last season. I mean, they were sort of in mid-table last season, mid to bottom table last season, but this season I reckon the Hawks will finish dead last in 18th spot. 17th spot, I think the West Coast Eagles will take up this position. A lot of people have the West Coast Eagles finishing a little bit higher than 17th and having the Giants dropping down, but I think it's a battle between the Eagles and the Giants for 17th and 16th. But yeah, I think the Eagles are going to take 17th spot. I just feel like they're dropping off as well. I feel like, from 2018 to 2020, they had some pretty decent seasons, but 2020 onwards, the Eagles started dropping off, and I feel like they're gonna, have another downward season this year and finish in 17th this season. In 16th spot, I have the GWS Giants. I don't know why, but I don't know. A lot of other people having the Giants finishing lower as well, and so do I. Yeah, I don't know. They in the preseason game, they did play the Suns and they looked pretty decent. I will say that, but I feel like a lot of other teams, like I've said, they're going to have, another downward season. I don't know. I feel like they'll sort of be half competitive in the first half of the season, or the first few rounds of the season, but then from there on out, they'll just, have a few big losses, a few bad games, and, they've, a lot of other teams, they've lost a bit of experience as well. They've got a lot of younger players. I know that the Giants ball movement, when it's on, it's really good, but I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be a bit lackluster this season, and they're going to finish in 16th spot. In 15th spot, I have the North Melbourne Kangaroos taking up 15th. I feel like they're gonna have a half decent season. They're gonna obviously have a better season than last season, hopefully for their fans, but I still see them finishing in the bottom four. I feel like it's going to take a little bit for them to climb up that ladder, even though they've got, pretty good draft picks this season coming into their side. I just still feel like it's going to take a lot more time for them to climb up back into a top 8 position. So for a few years, I may see them, finishing mid-table to bottom table, but you never know. This season, they could surprise us all. But yeah, the way that they've been playing, even in the practice matches, they've had some good patches in games, like they sort of did last season. But they just still are missing something. They're missing that you know, really good ball movement, that creative ball movement that a lot of good teams have. So I think North Melbourne are going to finish 15th spot this season. In 14th spot, I have the Essendon Football Club. A bit like North Melbourne, I feel like the Bombers are going to be a side that we see in like mid to lower table for a few years. I think it's going to take a bit long for them to reach the top 8 spot again. They've got a lot of young players as well that need to develop and get, you know, a little bit better. But yeah, I just see Essendon finishing in this 14th spot on the ladder. Another mid-table to bottom table finish for them. In 13th spot, I have the Gold Coast Suns. It's the Suns! It is the Gold Coast Suns! And I believe when I checked, they finished 13th last season. I feel like even though they finished 13th last season, they still were impressive in most of their games. They do a classic Gold Coast every year and just have a really good start. So you never know, if the Suns have another really good start and, you know, actually go through with it this season, they could finish higher than 13th. But I feel like it's just going to be another classic Gold Coast season where they have a really good start, they win a few games at the start, then they sort of lose a bit of momentum, then win a few games again, then lose a bit of momentum again. I still haven't seen a season where the Suns have been consistently good and, you know, consistently picking up wins from like start to finish. So yeah, I just see the Suns finishing 13th again, but you never know, they could be a shock and finish in the top 8 if they get that momentum and if they get, you know, a run of consistently good games, consistent wins from start to finish. In 12th spot, I have the Crows. From what I've seen in the preseason, they looked quite impressive actually. They look pretty decent. So yeah, I can see the Crows climbing up a little bit. I can see the Crows being like a side that have like a really good Sprite season. And yeah, I feel like they're going to climb up the ladder a little bit and finish in 12th spot this season in front of their home fans at the Adelaide Oval as well. So yeah, the Crows in 12th spot for me. In 11th spot, I have the Port Adelaide Power finishing 1 spot higher than their rivals, the Crows. Yeah, I just feel like the Power, they're going to be near the top 8, but I just don't feel like they have that firepower to get into the top 8 like the other teams in my top 8 have. I still feel like they'll be really competitive this season and really competitive in most games, but I just don't think they'll have that spice, that firepower to sneak into the top 8 this season. But you never know. In 10th spot, I have the Western Bulldogs finishing 10th spot. I feel like it's going to be another close finish for them this season as well, but I feel like they're going to miss out on the top 8. Unlike they did last season, thanks to us. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, the Dogs, they're a strange team. They can either play really good or they can be pretty average. And I feel like they're just going to have a mixed season. They're going to be like a side that have a roller coaster of a season. So I really just, I don't know, it's going to be hard. If they play really good football consistently, yes, they can get into the top 8 because they definitely have a very decent side to do so. But I feel like it's going to be a mixed amount of results for the Dogs, and it will see them getting in to 10th spot. In 9th spot, I have the St Kilda Football Club. Even though at my 21st party, Pat and Jordy and Sammy all saw Ethan, the master of predictions, say that the Saints will finish like in the top 4, I think. I don't think that will happen, but Ethan said it, so it may. But I don't know, I feel like it's going to be another one of those battles for like a top 8 spot where like percentage comes into it, and I feel like the Saints are going to miss out by percentage, and they'll get that 9th spot on the ladder. It's always a battle to get into the top 8, and I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it comes down to the last week, and I feel like the Saints will just miss out on that top 8 spot. And covering that 8th spot, moving into the top 8, we've got the Dockers. I reckon the Dockers are going to have a little bit of a decline, but not enough to get them out of the top 8. I reckon, you know, they'll be good enough to stick in there, and they'll just get it done at the end of the season. So yeah, I don't see the Dockers going out of the top 8. So I've put them in 8th spot because I think the teams that I put in front of them will just be a little bit higher than them and just be a little bit better than them on the ladder. But like I said for other teams during this video, I think the Dockers will be very competitive, and hence why I reckon they'll be in the top 8. at the end of the season. In 7th spot, I've put the Carlton Football Club. I think it's finally their time to make it into the top 8. They were, you know, a win away from getting into the top 8 last season, but couldn't produce the goods. But I think this season they'll just get it done, get into that top 8 spot. I reckon they'll like be in the top 8 for the majority of the season, and they'll be one of those clubs that just like sort of get their spot mixed around like in the top 8 for the majority of the season, but never drop out of the top 8. So yeah, I think the Blues in 7th spot, lock that in. In 6th spot, I have the Swans. The Swans just make finals just about every year. It's sort of like the Cats do. They just find a way to make finals, so I can't see them not getting into the top 8 again. And, you know, they've got the squad to do it as well. They made the grand final last year, so I can't see them not making the top 8 this year again. Like I just said, they've got the squad to do it. They've got fantastic players, entertaining players to watch. They've got a really good brand of footy as well. So yeah, I can't see them dropping out the top 8. So it's the Swans in 6th spot. In 5th spot, I have the Richmond Football Club, making it into the 5th spot on the ladder. I think, yeah, they're just going to go 1 spot or 2 spots, whatever it was, better than last season. Like Sydney, they've got the squad to do it, to get into the top 8, so I don't see why they can't make it into the top 8. I feel like we're sort of seeing that scary Richmond style of football come back into it, but not enough to get into the top 4, just a spot out of it. So yeah, I think the Tigers, they'll finish in 5th spot this season. In 4th spot, I have the Collingwood Football Club making 4th spot again. Yeah, I think we've got the team to do it again. I think like we've recruited really well, and I think we've got the team to make the top 4 again with recruits like Mitchell, Bobby Hill as well. He looks exciting. Frampton in the backline as well. I think they'll help our backline out a lot and free up Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe a lot. So I feel like we're covering a lot of cracks. So yeah, I can see us finishing in the top 4 again. Definitely not biased at all. Kind of is a little bit, but I've given good reasons, I think. So yeah, I've got the Pies finishing in top 4 this season in 4th spot. The last 3 spots and 3rd spots, I have the Melbourne Football Club. I reckon they're going to be a scary team to face this season with the likes of the Gawn and Grundy combo. You chuck Gawn in the forward line and you've got Grundy in the ruck. How good's that? And then you chuck Grundy in the forward line, you've got Gawn in the ruck. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's going to throw a spanner in the works for other teams facing the D's this season. But yeah, the top 2 teams that I've got above the D's, I think will just be a little bit better game plan wise. But yeah, I still think the D's will be a definite threat this season, so I've got them finishing in 3rd spot. In 2nd spot, I have the Geelong Football Club coming in 2nd. I reckon they're just going to back it up from last season, play some terrific footy like they did last season. Not much from their squad has changed from last season as well, so they're still going to have that, you know, major connection like they did last season. So yeah, I really think the Cats will be another dominant side this season and finish in 2nd spot. And that means in 1st spot, I have the Brizzy Lions coming in top spot. I reckon this year has to be their year that they make it count, and I reckon they're going to have a fantastic year. They've got the likes of Dunkley in there, Aden Ashcroft as well, so their side is looking very scary, and in that practice game against Geelong, they looked really good as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very good year for the Lions, I reckon. So I've put them in top spot, and yeah, I reckon they're going to be frightening this year with the talent that they picked up. So Lions in 1st spot for me. All right, moving on to the awards. We'll start it off with the Coleman Medal. The Coleman Medal, I think a lot of people will have this person as well. I think Jeremy Cameron is going to win the Coleman Medal from the Cats. He just knows what to do. He's a crafty forward. He's just that really good forward line player. And he's hard to beat as well. When he's on, he's on. He can kick 6 easily if he wants to. I think Jeremy Cameron will grab the Coleman medal this season. Rising Star Award, I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to many of you at all, but even just seeing him in the preseason game against the Cats, I've got Will Ashcroft winning the Rising Star Award. He looks like he's just meant for the AFL. He looks like he's played a few games in the AFL already, just going off the preseason game that he's played. He's got the strong body as well. Will Ashcroft, for me, is going to win the Rising Star Award. My Brownlow medal prediction, well, I've already put a bet on it, but here's my boy. It's my boy, Nick Dacos from the Collingwood Football Club, calling the Pies. Yeah, I reckon he's just going to have another very impressive season. And, you know, he's going to link up very well with the likes of Mitchell and Pendlebury as well in the midfield. If he gets more midfield time, watch out. But yeah, I reckon Nick Dacos will take out the Brownlow medal this season. And yeah, I've already put a bet on it as well, so I'm not going to not go with my bets. So yeah, Nick Dacos to win the Brownlow medal. And last but not least, the premiers for this season, I have the Brisbane Lions. Like I said during the ladder predictions, I reckon this is Brisbane's time to shine. I reckon they've just got the list to do it. They've recruited really well during the off season. And yeah, if the Lions don't win it this season, who knows what will happen. But yeah, I've got the Lions to take out the premiership this season. So yeah, that is all my predictions done and dusted for this season. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions in the comments below, and leave a few of your predictions in the comments below as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Footy season's finally back. Get into it, lads. I can't wait to go to the footy this week for the Pies versus Cats game. I will be there and I am super excited about it. So yeah, footy's back. Let's go and see you guys in another video soon. Cheers.
Bye.